Welcome everyone to the
Hey, check this
Bob
out.
and John Sports. What are you wearing there? Look at
If you
you're
could
like
read
you're
this.
all you need now. Oh
Can you
well,
read this? Read it.
I can't read that. I got my screen so small right now.
Papa, the man, the myth, the legend.
Thank
Man,
you.
don't let me go.
Ta-da.
Don't let me go get one of my no shirts on. Don't let me go get one of my no
Yes, your
shirts on.
no shirts mean
Because
nothing.
my shirts say the number one no of all time is what mine says,
Oh, you got that off my license plate. Quit
or the
lying.
best no ever, the world's greatest no. I got a couple.
Quit
Shirts.
lying. Quit lying. You got that off my license plate.
And right
You know you did.
right now with that shirt you're wearing right now, you're like you're ready for a street fight. What do you say, Bob? Does he look like he's ready for a street fight?
Oh yeah, he's gonna rumble just like he did at the stadium. You know what I'm saying?
Check this out.
What did you say
I'm
about my
ready.
Niners?
I'm ready. Come on.
Exactly.
Bring it on. I'm ready.
Hey, hey, Bob. Andre, just before every fight, Andre just hears sweep the leg, sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg.
We're back. I know it's not Monday, but we ran into a couple issues, and
Man,
we're
you're
back.
breaking up.
My alarm went off. There we go. Shut my alarm off. But we're here. We're ready to go today. We got a couple topics that we're going to talk about. We're going to revisit the Lamar Jackson thing, even though I did a quick video yesterday about that. We're still going to talk a little bit about that. We also got the ACC and SEC schools. Shifting around a little bit. We're going to talk about that, and of course the Pac-12 as well, and the Big 12. And I got a funny picture. Bob hit me up. I had no idea. We are sports fans, right, guys? Bob and Andre, we're huge
man.
sports fans. We love sports.
Yes.
But maybe Andre knows? I'm going to assume that Andre knew.
I think Bob knows more than I do.
No, but did you know Bob had to inform me that they had the WNBA playoffs yesterday, Andre? We were aware of
the
that.
All-Star game
All-Star
Yes,
game.
the All-Star game.
on
All-Star.
Sunday.
You were aware of that.
Yes.
Did you watch?
No.
No. You're part of the problem why WNBA players have to go to Russia to play basketball.
Please let him go. Let him go. I don't need him that bad.
Show Andre the MVP trophy.
Yes, I'm going to pull it up right now. I'm going to show you what the
For the NBA, the MVP trophy for the NBA.
For the
No,
WNBA.
for the WNBA, the All-Star
Oh, the
game.
W.
MVP
Okay, for
trophy.
the
Yeah,
women's.
yeah. I'm going to actually show you both right next to each other. Hold on here. Let's get your opinion on this one.
Oh God.
One's made by Tiffany. The other one is some trophy shop in Charlotte.
Oh golly.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I can go to a garage sale and buy a better trophy than that.
I think they did do that. It probably says "World's Greatest Dad" on the other side of it.
Yeah, probably does.
That's why she's got that look on her face. You guys couldn't take the other guy's name off.
Right?
Exactly.
World's Greatest
That's
Dad.
embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think you can even see the look on her face
Right.
of like, okay, really? Curry's looking at this thing and he's thinking, where am I going to put this thing? It's so
Right.
amazing. This has got to
Right.
go in my living room. People got to see this. That girl's thinking what closet to put that thing in.
Am I going to serve tea with it or what? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that.
That's
That makes
embarrassing.
absolute sense. I mean, we all know if you want to be successful, sometimes you got to showboat. You got to do things. You got to go crazy. You got to go, have the craziest halftime show. Get some big celebrities to come and be involved. That's what I don't get. And let's be honest, there are some great female celebrities that are out there that are into sports as well as as a lot of guys out there. Why isn't the WNBA trying to get some of those guys in? Hey, get J-Lo to sit out front, in front row. Hey, J-Lo, why don't you show up? Or hey, Beyonce, it would be great if you would attend at one of these games or a couple games and let fans see you. That'll draw that younger crowd in there, maybe even the girls to come in there and see that, right, guys? I mean,
It might, but wait a minute. That's trophy. Did Steph get the MVP for the All-Star?
yeah,
Yeah.
All-Star MVP trophy.
I thought they gave it to LeBron because he made the
No, I
final
don't know how
shot
old
that
this picture
outscored
is.
everybody.
Yeah, this is that might be a couple years ago, that picture right there.
Oh, come
But
on in, John, if you want.
but
Come on in and sit down.
it's just sad that's. Hey, Joan,
Hi.
You want to say hi to
Ah.
John and Bob?
do you have any sports news to announce, Joan?
The U.S.
How did your soccer team do? We could do a Joan soccer team update if you
Go
like.
ahead. Tell them.
No, I'm fine.
No.
Tell them about the U.S. Women's soccer
The
team. What did
U.S. women's soccer team is in the World Cup.
I saw
and
that.
their favorite to what?
What?
And they are favorite to what? Win the tournament.
Well, yeah, they're favored to win every year.
And who is their stiffest competition? Tell them who's the team
Uh,
that could be the stiffest competition.
whisper it.
Go on.
Germany.
Germany could be their toughest competition.
But Germany's playing England today, and England's
Yeah.
kicking their ass.
Yeah,
Are they really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just saw Germany play Spain.
Okay.
And no, you know what? England did play. And they beat Norway.
No.
Oh, that's
Eight to
right.
nothing.
Norway. You're right. Norway.
They
Yeah,
beat
Nor-
Norway. Jones
Yeah.
leaving.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't see they either have the worst promotion people running the WNBA because it just doesn't seem like nothing's going on. It doesn't seem like there's commercials out there. They're not players endorsing products, and you got to take your all stars and somehow get them involved with society and commercials and all this other stuff, so people see them and want to be part of this. But I mean, maybe the budget money isn't there for advertising. I don't know.
But it's funny though, because at the All-Star game, wasn't it a sellout? Because it looked like a sellout, from what I can see right here in the background. Unless
Okay,
that's
so-
something different.
Yeah, Andre,
So,
Bob will lighten you.
The festivities before the game, they didn't allow anybody in because they didn't want. Well, they were afraid of gun violence because it got played in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the people in the show, I think they gave away free tickets for that, but a lot of that is friends and family. And then they had Chance the Rapper do a concert, but they weren't.
They were there to see Chance.
Huh?
They were there to see Chance. They didn't even
They
know
were
a
there to see
basketball
Chance the
game.
Rapper.
Oh, gee, yeah. So
That's sad. I mean,
it
that is
is.
sad.
It's sad.
Oh, Bob, too. Speaking of Chicago, what's the deal with NASCAR wanting to do a race in Chicago? That makes absolutely no sense at all to me. Only because
no. They want to do a road course like through downtown.
Right.
There is a track in Chicago. It's called Chicagoland. It's on the outskirts of the city.
Yeah.
It's a 1.5-mile oval, and they run
Yeah.
it every year.
Yeah.
They want to do a race through downtown Chicago,
right.
and that's
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, to me, I don't see the association, the city of Chicago and NASCAR. I mean,
They've had a track there for years. Chicago.
Yeah, right,
It's been
right.
there for a long time.
But
Yeah, but
if you were a non-NASCAR follower and you saw that article, you would assume what I assumed is like, where's the connection? Why is this connection between NASCAR and Chicago? Like, I can see a race in Nashville.
Right.
I could see a race in, Tennessee, somewhere in North Carolina. and Florida, of course, they have the big one in Florida, but
Indiana.
Indiana, yeah. I just to me when I read that article, that was the first thing that went through my mind. Where's the tie-in? And then I thought maybe bootlegging because that was kind of like the thing. Maybe bootlegging through
No,
Chicago.
No,
they
bootlegging's a
also
little different.
they also run a race in Michigan twice a year
Yeah,
because
But I've
that's where
never
all
heard.
the
I've never heard of Chicago as far as
Chicagoland.
racetracks. Yeah, I never even
Well,
heard of that either.
Chicagoland's been going on for like 15 years when NASCAR started expanding further east because a lot of places lost races like Rockingham. They don't race in
right,
Rockingham, North Carolina anymore. But there's a lot of small tracks up in Wisconsin,
right.
Michigan, Illinois that drivers start there and then make it to the big time because Matt Kenseth is from Wisconsin. You've got drivers from all over running
Right.
short tracks up there. So, and Chicagoland's always sold out. So, I mean, there is an audience up there.
There's an audience. Yeah, I
There
just
must be for me though. This is me personally. I've never heard of anything associated with Chicago as far
Right.
as racetracks.
yeah.
I've never heard. I mean, you hear of the other ones,
Mhm.
but I've never heard of anything. Bob, you said Chicagoland's been there for a long time, but
Mhm.
in all my years, I've never heard of anything about
Yeah. Well, I
Chicago.
I put the moonshine thing into my head
Right.
because I thought
That,
maybe
yeah.
that was, because that's how NASCAR started was, running moonshine, and I thought maybe, that it was a dedicated run from the southern states into Chicago with the moonshine in the back of the car. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I
So,
I've
am
heard.
typecasting so bad right now.
Chicagoland opened in 2001.
Okay. Okay. So yeah,
That's pretty recently, though. I
that's
mean,
Yeah.
2001's pretty recently. It's
That's
not like
19. It's 20 years,
yeah, but
21
I mean,
years. Yeah.
it's not like it opened up the 1930s, the
Oh no, no,
1940s.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
To
no.
me, that's
It was
Historic.
recently.
strictly,
Yeah,
yeah,
Anything
strictly in the
anything
30s
in
and
2020 or is
yeah,
anything in the 2000s
yeah.
for me is pretty recently.
Yeah, well, strictly when NASCAR started, like in the 40s and 50s, there was a bunch of bootleggers,
yeah,
and they
Right.
would race like in Alabama and Florida and Georgia, places in Carolina like that because it was built mostly, it was basically guys who were bootleggers, and then they started getting legit. But up until like I'd say 1980s, 80% of the races were in the South.
in the South,
But
right?
then NASCAR got popular, so they started expanding.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a race pretty much everywhere. I mean, nowadays, I mean, they were the big races back in the days were, Florida and like you were saying,
Yeah,
Daytona.
Daytona, Homestead, you'd get
And
Talladega, you'd get Atlanta,
yeah,
uh, Charlotte, North Carolina, you'd get Darlington, Bristol, Tennessee. I
yeah,
mean, that's where all the bigger races were. But like I said, they started to expand. They went, Kansas built them a big track. Chicago built a big track.
yeah.
Michigan in the mid
Those are
90s.
serious tracks too. We're talking
Texas
100
has a big
plus,
track.
100,000 plus in those
Yeah.
stupid states. That's insane. That's
Mhm.
insane. And they sell out. That's the crazy part.
Mhm.
And it doesn't. It's amazing though, Andre. I mean, you think about
No,
it.
I
I
know.
mean,
It's
they sell out
amazing.
NASCAR races in Southern California. They're
Right.
Yeah.
sold out.
Fontana, Sears Point.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I
It
mean,
is. It is amazing that they do sell out. Which is
Yeah.
great for the sport of the
Right.
people that are really interested in it.
Yeah.
It's great for them.
They run Phoenix twice a year.
yeah.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, in Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah. Yeah. Maybe the WNBA should take some pointers from the NASCAR people on how to promote races and basketball games.
I don't know. But NBA is pretty good.
No,
Already,
WNBA, not
Maybe
the
the
NBA. The
W.
NBA knows
Yeah.
what they're doing. Maybe they need to. Honestly, that's what I don't get. Okay, power to the women. why aren't we seeing celebrities like we see in in NBA games sitting at Laker in shit? Not even the Lakers. I mean, you see them all over, no matter where. It could be in Charlotte, it can be in friggin' New York and Chicago. There are big time fans sitting in those front rows. Celebrities.
Could it,
We
Right.
could it go
But
ahead.
every time you see a woman celebrity like J-Lo, she's sitting next to Alex Rodriguez. Or she's sitting next to Mark Anthony. You see
Yeah.
Beyonce, she's sitting next to Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not that they got to convince the women to go. Is they got to convince
The husbands.
like Spike Lee and
Yeah.
all the men. Okay, they got to invite the
Yeah,
men, give them
yeah.
free tickets. Hey, come see this, because then it'll catch on.
Yeah.
Could it be? Could it be that maybe the NBA itself is trying to put a halt on the WNBA so that instead of going to the WNBA, they have to go to the NBA, which increases their attendance
They
and
got
their.
lots of money. They could go to
Yeah,
both.
I know they
got plenty.
But you know how
Well,
people are. People are greedy. They know that if they make a
but the
billion, they want
NBA
2 billion.
But the NBA is funding the
Funding.
WNBA.
Yeah, they're funding now.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, yeah. If the NBA stopped giving money to the WNBA, the WNBA would fold.
It would fold. It would fold. They don't have enough ESPN money to keep that league together.
Right.
That I did not know. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not hating on women. We just think
We're
that
not.
it could be, it could be run better. I think it's not run efficient. I think there's some issues there with how they promote that product, and maybe they need to get. What was the guy that used to come on late at night, Bob, and do those infomercials? He was like the greatest infomercial guy. What was his name? Come on, you too, Andre. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
He sold everything. He had
Oh, something Link or something like that. The
What did you say,
Ron
Billy?
Popeil or something. Was
That
it
black
Ron
hair and a
Popeil?
beard.
what was it?
His name
I
was
was
Billy
thinking-
something. That black
Billy
hair and a
something.
beard.
Yeah, get that fucker, man.
I was
Hire
thinking
him.
I
That
was
guy
thinking
could
like
sell.
maybe Ron Popeil, the one that did.
Ron Popeil, yeah.
I didn't forget the guy.
Okay, so-
Wait a minute. There's more.
There's more. All right. So here's my take on the WNBA. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun sport to watch.
Mm.
There's 175 million women in this country, so how come women aren't going to watch? It's
Exactly.
just like women's soccer in this country. Nobody watches women's soccer either, unless it's the World Cup or the Olympics. Okay, their problem is stop being political, and you gotta cater to. I'm gonna sound like a racist, okay, but you need to cater to the white people, not the black people. Because if you go to an NBA game, okay, if you go to an NBA game, the crowd is 90% white.
Yeah.
All the music is hip hop and everything else, so they're catering to a black audience inside the arena. But you got 90% of the people watching are white because it's corporate America who can afford to buy the tickets.
Yeah. They're the only ones that can afford to buy those tickets.
Right.
Yeah, I just think they need to sit down and figure out a better strategy to promote that league, and I think it is, because I'm not gonna lie, I've sat and watched a few games over the years, and it's a good game. It's an actually really good game. It's like watching, I wouldn't go far back as 70s basketball, but
But 80s, yeah. I mean, it's 70s and 80s basketball
Yeah.
where they are mainly working down low and hitting the mid-range jump shot, but they are starting to expand to too many threes.
Yeah.
Today's NBA game is either you're going to shoot a three or you're going to dunk.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
That's it.
No,
There's
I think
maybe Andre will run it. Go out there and run that league, Andre.
I think one of the reasons why the WNBA hasn't had that much attendance, and I think it's because in the NBA, the men are dunking, they're high fly dunking, they're tomahawking, they're doing a 360 dunk, which excites the crowd.
Yeah.
The women can't do that. They're not dunking, so it
No,
doesn't
they're not
excite the
athletic
crowd.
enough.
Yeah.
And because they're not dunking, the crowd doesn't want to go. They want to
Yeah.
see these high fly dunking, these tomahawks, take off
Tomahawk.
from the free throw.
Andre's gotten them pinching up teepees here on the NBA
They're called
floors.
tomahawk. They are called tomahawk
I
dunks,
guess. Yeah.
and they're they're flying from the
From the rafters.
free throw and boom. The women don't do that. Although in the NBA, in the All Star game, did let one of the girls dunk,
Yeah.
and she did dunk,
Yeah.
but it was barely a dunk.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't
So,
know. I don't know.
so
I think it just, if you can't, like Bob said, I mean, if you can't get half the country is women, if you can't get at least a third of them to show up and watch the
yeah.
sport, I mean, why should the guys watch? That's the problem I see. I think maybe guys would watch it more if their old ladies came home and said, "Oh my God, I don't know any names of the teams, but oh my God, this game's on tonight. We got to sit down and watch it." I think a guy will sit down and watch a WNBA game if his old lady was into it, and
Right.
she wanted to watch it. But you're not going to get that. And I mean, even the women that want to watch sports. Are they really? Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for this one. Are they really sitting down and watching the sport, really? Or are they kind of up and down? Back into the kitchen, they're back in here, they're back with the kids, they come back to sit down. What's the score?
Okay, here's what it equates to. Most of the women who watch football and basketball, men's basketball, they're looking at the physiques of the men.
Yeah.
You
We're
know,
such
I mean,
chauvinist
half the ladies
pigs.
who
We're
watch
such
football
chauvinist pigs.
is because, huh?
We're such chauvinist pigs, man.
We are, but you got to call it
I don't think it's
right.
us
A
though.
lot of women who watch football is
Yeah.
they watch it in a sports bar to meet men. They watch
Yeah.
it because there's good-looking guys on TV.
Yeah.
There's like maybe 5% of women who watch football who break it down and understand the plays and stuff.
Yeah.
There it is. But the
Yeah.
rest are, it's all, I want to hang out with men or I want to
Yeah.
look at men on TV.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to do
Yeah.
a poll one of
They
these
also
days.
believe too that part of it could be because although it's not happening now, we're starting to break away from that. But women are supposed to stay home. They're supposed to cook, watch the kids, while the men go out after a hard day's work and go out and have a couple of beers, while the woman stays at
Oh,
home.
those days are gone, Andre. Those days are gone.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that we're breaking away from that theory.
Yeah.
But for a long time, that's how it's been.
Yeah.
It's been brainwashed in our brains
Yeah.
and in a woman's brain that they just stay home, watch the kids, and the man, after a hard day's work, goes out and relax with his friends,
Yeah.
shoot a little pool, drink a couple of beers, and
Shoot a
then
little
comes
pool. Well,
Well, that's
before we jump into the next topic, let me ask you guys this last question on this subject. Do you think we have influenced the women on not watching the WNBA by us
No.
demeaning in it? You don't think by us demeaning it all the time around? Because I know we're not the only ones saying in front of their girl. Maybe not in front of them, but they're in a vicinity where they hear the conversation. Like the guy's like, "Why would I watch the WNBA? They suck. That's a slow game. There's no dunking. There's no 3-point shooting. Do you think we have influenced them on maybe not wanting to watch the game, thinking it's not a good quality basketball game?
No, I don't think so.
No, Bob.
Because
Well, I
because well, at the same time, haven't we kind of like said, football sucks. All they do is just get two lines, crash into each other, and that's it. I don't know. Or baseball. Baseball's so slow that all the action is between the pitcher and the catcher. So, but we haven't done that. I mean, we've done that, but yet women still go out to those sports
Yeah.
oh yeah.
and watch those games.
All right, boys. Well, let's talk a little bit about the ACC and the SEC schools. It would cost ACC teams $500 million to get out of their current deal if they want to go to the ACC, and this all started. Let's be honest, because I did a little digging. This is all really kind of started because of the Big Ten announcement with them adding USC and UCLA in 2024. With the Big Ten expanding by poaching Pac-12, and Big 12 is reported looking to add up to 6 teams. They're going to add 6 more teams to the Pac-12, putting itself into the Super Conference game and leaving the Pac-12 in limbo,
Hey,
Bob. It's kind of a sad thing when you start looking at that. I had it up
I know
here.
you want to sit here so you could.
Uh,
I got some intruders. Come on, siéntate. Ahora va chinita.
Yeah, I mean when you start, he's
Coming in
cussing.
and out.
Don't cuss to the little kid. When you start looking at the Pacific 12 Conference and you take UCLA and USC out of there, Bob, and what are you left with in that conference? I mean, you still have Cal and Stanford, Oregon. That's it. Maybe Wisconsin.
Right.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
you're still left with you're left with Washington State, Oregon State, Arizona State, Stanford, and Cal.
Yep.
Oregon
And
in football.
don't forget-
has
don't
won
forget
the conference
Utah.
the last 2 years.
I think Utah's in that conference. Isn't Utah in that
Oh,
conference?
Utah and
also?
Colorado. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Utah.
Utah,
Okay,
Colorado.
my bad. My bad, Paul. You're in.
And don't forget the
Utah.
Washington State Cougars
Colin.
men's basketball team.
I did say Washington State. I did say Washington State. But here's
Yeah,
the deal. Oregon still runs the conference. Oregon and Utah, basically in football. Basketball, it's still Oregon and Arizona. USC and UCLA really haven't been relevant in the Pac-12 in a while. But if they're going to leave just to spice up the Pac-12 and make it like more regionalized and get more fans involved, I would ask Boise State and Fresno State to join.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same thing. Move because what is Fresno Division II?
Yes.
No, Fresno's
No,
Division One. They
might
play in the
not be,
Mountain
yeah.
West.
They're Mountain
Right,
West.
Division
They
One.
play
They
Mountain
can't-
West.
Division One.
Right. Fresno State would have to expand their stadium over the years because right now it only seats 30,000, and they want a minimum of 50,000 to have a school. But I think if you put Fresno State and Boise State in the Pac-12,
Yeah,
you would get better recruits at Fresno State and Boise State.
right. I think so too. I mean, do you think? Let's be honest. In that conference, who do you think is drawing more TV time? It's got to be still UCLA and USC, wouldn't you say? As far I could see why
Last
they're
year-
trying to do.
Last year it was Oregon.
It was Oregon.
For
you know-
basketball, for basketball, it was Oregon.
No, football
They
was
were
Oregon.
football too. Yeah, but basketball, they had a good. They were good ratings on TV. They were always, not always,
They did.
but
They have a very good
they were on
basketball team,
TV quite a
and
bit.
Arizona has
Quite a
good
bit.
basketball.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'm.
But I would think if you draw in Boise State and Idaho State, or like you guys just mentioned, I think they wouldn't be as successful as they are now, which will hinder their drawing as far for me, because if you're not a winning team, then I'm not going to go to you guys as a star player. I'll go someplace else that maybe I will get a better recognition. Maybe I'll get on a team that has a chance to win their conference or their championship. If I go to Boise and they become dead last in the 12 pack in the Pac-12, then I'm not fulfilling what I want to fulfill to make me a successful person, maybe for the pros.
Yeah.
So that's why I think they read the.
Well, with that in that conference, I mean, let's be honest, you're pretty limited to Cal and Stanford. I mean, that's a limited group of individuals that are going to be able to qualify to go to those two schools in the first place. So,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
need at least a 4.4.2,
yeah.
4.4.
So you're pretty much, depending on. But I could see why the draw. I mean, for a kid, the draw would be Oregon right now because they are winning. But other than that, wiping out Cal and Stanford out of that, do you want to go to Arizona? No. Do you want to go to Utah? No. Do you want to go to Washington? No. When you got two schools like UCLA and USC that have been, let's be honest, they've been powerhouses in the past, and they're still big time schools that get a lot of TV time. So I can see why maybe UCLA and USC are saying, you know what, we're better than this. We can move to this other conference. We can draw more revenue in that other conference, and bring in a better class of athlete. But
Yes, they can, but at the same time, if they're not champions in the Pac-10, how are they going to be champions in the Big Ten or the ACC when they got Michigan, Ohio, Michigan State, Purdue? They got
Penn
those teams
State,
to a challenge.
tell him, Bob. Tell him
Wisconsin.
exactly what happened.
Well, I mean, here's what's going to happen with UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten. Okay, the Big Ten is more ground and pound because that's the athletes they get, and USC and UCLA are going to be more run game, passing game, and things like that. I mean, some of the best linemen go to the Big Ten. Wisconsin's always got great linemen. Michigan's
Yeah.
always got great linemen.
Yeah,
Ohio
because they like
State's
to
got
run.
great linemen.
Because they like to run the ball a lot, and they go for the big men.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Where USC and UCLA, they're more like kind of like they run, but they're more like pass oriented.
Yeah.
So they might catch those teams by surprise because those teams like to run, and if they don't see the pass very often, they might catch them by surprise and maybe win some games, and maybe who knows,
Right.
they can stir things
Well,
up.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Bob.
It's been 20 years. It's been 20 years since USC has even been in the playoff
Yeah.
picture. Okay, 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're going to go to a conference where you're going to
Powerhouse.
come in as maybe the sixth best team in the conference. I know they got Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley is going to be uh, uh, the fun gun offense like he was in Oklahoma. Okay, he's going to rare back, throw the ball 60 times. That's great. Okay, that's great. But how's he going to do that when he's playing Penn State and there's a foot and a half of snow on the ground?
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to Penn State.
Right. Exactly. And where are these small schools like Boise State and Idaho that you got? Well, Idaho and Boise State
Well,
will be the same.
Boise State and Fresno State play in the Mountain West Conference
Mountain
with
West,
Right.
BYU.
So, I mean, where are they
places
going to
like
get
that.
the 500,000?
No, they
Look.
won't. They don't need that. That deal is
No, they don't need
yeah.
Okay,
That's the
just
deal for the
SEC.
ACC and the SEC. We're going to talk about that now. It says reports have flown around that it's eyeing the ACC, Clemson, Florida State, and Miami as potential targets to bring into the fold with the mature interest among the two parties, according to CBS Sports. Though the move would cost a hefty sum of $500 million, North Carolina is another school out of the ACC that would make sense for the SEC to target, and former UNC Chancellor Holden Thorpe, as that's correct, dropped the bomb this week when joining 99.9 The Fan, saying the Tar Heels could have been a member of the SEC. So that's kind of crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I'm going to throw out this question to you, Bob. One of the things holding Clemson from leaving the ACC is it's called I did a little research. It's called the
I
Grant.
just saw some little.
Hey, am I talking to you? Hold on, let me finish my question of Mr. Sharp. All right. It's called the Grants of Right contract that says the ACC schools, including Clemson, turns over all television media rights for the school sports program to the
I can't
ACC.
understand where you.
Huh? What's the matter?
John,
What?
I think
John,
Andre. I think
you're breaking
Andre's
up a lot, and I'm having a really
got
hard time
Wi-Fi problem.
understanding you.
All right. Well, just be quiet for a few minutes. Let me finish asking Bob the question, and we'll figure out what's going on your end. Hold on. Yeah, the
You're
contract
breaking
is.
up.
I'm going to
You were
mute you.
you
Yeah,
were
yeah,
breaking up a lot. And I
yeah.
couldn't understand the word you were
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. I'm asking Bob a question though. The contract
I know
enforces
you
whether
are.
claim.
But I'm just
All right. The contract enforces whether Clemson is an ACC or chooses to leave either from another conference or to or to independent. So if they were to leave, even Clemson's home games, every home game would be broadcast on the ACC and would make money for them. So why would they do this deal? Why would they even want to leave, knowing, or why would the SEC want them to come along when they're not going to be able to make any money off of them until after 2036?
Well, okay, so Clemson would lose ACC money, okay?
Right.
But Clemson's not going to lose any SEC money if they go to the SEC. They'll get an SEC TV contract and everything else. It may not be
Yeah,
as big as the ACC contract,
but
but
that
they
would
should be able to
only
get paid by the SEC.
no, they wouldn't. Only on away games. They would. They would lose
Oh,
all the money for every home game. From what I understand, every home game, no matter where, until 2036, every penny that gets goes right to the ACC and not the SEC. I hate saying SEC for
SEC.
every home game until 2036 is from what I understand. So every home game they play in, that money goes right back to the ACC until 2036. And from what I understand, that contract is ironclad. So there's no way of them getting out of it at all. So I don't know how it works when they play an away game. Would that mean they would get money from the SEC? I have no idea. I didn't really look into.
Well, every team that plays on the road gets paid by the home team.
Right. So,
So I mean,
but
so the money's shared. They're not playing for free.
no, they're not playing for free, but we're talking a lot bigger. I mean, for them to even bring this up, it's got to be a lot of money, is what I'm saying. For them to be concerned, because
Right.
the deal between ESPN with the SEC and the deal with ESPN with the ACC is a whole different ball game as far as money
Right.
is concerned. So that's why I'm thinking to
Right.
myself, why would the SEC want to bring in Clemson when they know they're not going to make a dime off of Clemson until after 2036? I mean, and basically every home game they play, that money's going back to the ACC. So it wouldn't make any
Well,
sense for Clemson to leave.
I'm sure Clemson's going to buy him out. I'm sure there's a figure that they can buy out of that contract.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked into that contract. They said it was pretty much ironclad until there's like no way out of it unless, the way it was written out, it even said whether they leave for another conference or they go independent. Either way, the ACC makes a profit for every home game that Clemson participates in until 2036. So I'm sure we all know it's a lot of money. So I don't know if Clemson's
Oh
willing
yeah,
to pay that kind of money. Because what are we talking? 2036? That's how many years? That's a lot of money, Bob.
a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Hey, Andre, your
yeah.
son is going to one of these schools. They pay $500 million. You get a letter in the mail that says, Andre, we need another $20,000 a year from you. Are you going to make your son go to another school?
I'm gonna make him go to a city college instead.
I mean, I
No,
mean, I mean, that's how you got to look at it. Let's be honest. I'm sure there's some of that money's going to come from students. Now, if your son or your daughter is there on a I don't know agriculture
Scholarship, right.
degree in farming, are you going to say, oh yeah, I'm going to pay 20 grand more a year for my kid to go here so Clemson can go into the SEC and play football?
Right. No, I
What
would
you
not pay. I would not pay the extra money. I would look into see what other schools are available that might even be less. The
tuition? Yeah,
tuition might be less than. Although you probably looked into that before, but because you're getting a
yeah,
scholarship from that school, you're going to go to that school. But
yeah,
then all of a sudden, beyond the scholarship, you have to pay extra money. No, I wouldn't. I would look for another school and have him transfer.
yeah.
$20,000 more per year seems to be
Uh,
quite a bit of money. And
yeah.
if you get that between,
Well, don't worry, Biden will pay it, right, Bob?
Yeah.
yeah, Bob will pay.
Not Bob, Biden.
Yeah,
Biden will
Biden.
pay
Oh,
it.
Yeah.
Biden. Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for him to do it. And if you get that,
Okay.
if you get
Well,
20,000 among 30,000 students, that's a lot of cash.
Yeah, yeah, that's a lot of money. But do you think they're throwing out North Carolina into that mix maybe because Clemson might not be able to go?
well, here's the deal.
What do you
Okay.
want?
Uh, they
You
probably
want to
open the
sit
door.
here
Hey, whoever wants to come,
and look at the
come.
show or
But
no?
Yeah,
here's the part
Sit
I don't
here.
like about it. All right. If Carolina goes to the SEC, one of the greatest rivalries is done. No
yeah,
Duke and Carolina twice a
yeah,
year in basketball.
Right.
yeah,
Okay, so now Carolina, who can't even win the ACC, is going to go to the SEC in football and not even have a chance to compete because you got to
So,
beat Texas A&M,
yeah,
Alabama, LSU, Georgia, and Florida.
yeah,
So Clemson might not even make the national championship playoffs anymore because you're beating up on the top teams every year. Right now, Clemson has it set. They're the king in the ACC
yep,
football. They're always going to go to the playoffs unless they have a bad year like last year because there's
yeah,
really not much competition.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
Miami,
what do you
the
guys?
University of Miami wants to come to the SEC. They're all competing for the same athletes in Florida with Florida State, Miami. They're all competing for the same athletes. Okay, they are.
yeah, yeah,
So why you would want to switch conferences? But hey, granted, if you can get the athletes to compete and come, awesome. That's what they're probably hoping for is come to Miami and we'll beat Florida, Florida State, Georgia, and Alabama.
yeah,
But I'm not a big fan of a mega super conference because just remember the SEC just got Texas and Oklahoma.
yeah,
Now you've got 14 teams, and if you add four more, that is 18 teams. So you're going to have nine team conferences. So you're not going to get a Georgia, Alabama, unless you play them in the SEC championship game,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the part that's going to suck.
I think it's a huge mess. The whole thing's a huge mess,
Mhm.
and I don't understand it.
Right.
I mean, the way they have it set up, and it just, I mean, for me, it's just like you're talking about. They're taking away a lot of rivalry games that everyone has been used to for many, many years by making all
Mhm.
these moves and changes. And let's be honest, it's not to
Yeah.
better the school. It's about money. It comes down
Right.
to it's just money
Right.
that we're talking
This
about.
is all about money.
Yeah, it's all
Last
about money.
yesterday, I was watching one of these sports talk show, and they actually were talking about the SEC, and it happened to be Keyshawn Johnson and some other broadcaster, and they were talking about these moves. And Keyshawn Johnson was saying that the SEC is the most competitive
Conference, yeah.
conference there is.
Mhm.
And if it wasn't for the SEC, because they dominate so much, there wouldn't actually be any rivalries or any competition because they dominate the sport a lot. They have more like between Alabama and Tennessee. They have so many championships. As the Super Bowl number one teams. So this other guy was saying, well, now that Texas is moving to another conference, I believe. That they're going to
SEC.
be the more dominating team or the more dominating conference. And Keyshawn was saying, well, just
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they got
SEC will be, yeah.
right, and he goes, just because Texas got the Manning, the youngest Manning that there is as a quarterback,
Arch.
Yeah,
Arch
Arch.
Manning.
Archie.
Arch Manning. There you go. He goes, that doesn't mean they're going to be guaranteed to be the best conference and the Texas be the best team.
Yeah.
They're just because of one guy doesn't make a difference. So they were
Right.
actually commentating about all this that was what was going on as far which dominating conference there is. And I have to admit, the SEC has, from what I've seen in the past, has been the most dominating conference.
Yeah.
Now, if there's another one, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
Bob.
mean,
Bob
go
seems
ahead,
like
Bob.
he has
Go ahead, Bob.
Oh no, I
maybe
was just going to say the last 5 football national championships have all come from the SEC. Okay,
and
the
that's
last
what I
3
noticed lately.
college World Series champions have come from the SEC.
Yeah.
Basketball, they compete, but they're not. If Kentucky isn't dominant, then the SEC really doesn't count in basketball.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just weird. It's weird. I mean I get, like we said, it's all about money. It's all about moving around, trying to get the better deal. I mean, they're not taking. I don't think they're even taking into consideration, student fees and
Right.
what does it mean for the school? What is it going to benefit the school, and how? There's no. Where's the 500 million come from? None of that. I looked all over for those articles of where this 500 million dollars is going to come from, and you really don't get a general idea exactly where that money's coming from. But you got to assume part of that's got to come from student tuition. It's gotta. I mean, where else
I would think so.
you're going to pull that money from? Because
Donors.
donors. That's
Alumni.
alums. Alums, I'm sure, are going to be a big part of
that's
it.
not a
But
bad one. That's not a bad one about the alumni.
yeah, but how many alums, aren't traditionals and don't want to move, and
Right.
are they getting forced out? Because you do.
Or
I'm assuming you have some of those older alums that are like, this is our conference. We've been in it for 60 years. Why do we need to leave now? I'm sure
Right.
there's a few of them in there.
or if that's true, I mean, about the alumni, how many alumni really want to donate an extra 100,000 or an extra
Yeah.
50,000? Would you want to donate an extra 100,000, 50,000 just so your school could move?
Get loose.
Okay. With North Carolina, Jerry Richardson, who owns the Panthers and owns most of North Carolina, he could probably write that check himself if Carolina wants to move to
That's true.
the SEC.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
I'm sure
He
every
can't.
every school has a billionaire probably on the alumni list who's probably
Yeah.
on some sort of board of directors or something.
Yeah.
And it's the board of directors at the university who's making these decisions
Yeah.
because they have to approve it.
Yeah. That's a lot of money, though.
But
500
I
million.
don't
Yeah,
get I don't get USC and UCLA wanting to join the Big Ten because they're
Right.
going to have to travel more,
Yep.
and they're losing some natural rivalries, especially when they play Stanford and Cal. I mean, look at all the USC alums who probably live in the Valley who aren't going to be able to see USC. Now they
Yeah.
got to pack up and fly to Wisconsin, Michigan State,
Right.
Purdue, Northwestern,
Yeah.
Penn State, Rutgers. I mean,
Michigan.
if you're going to add schools to conferences, what I would do is I would kick out the bottom feeders and let them join a smaller conference so they can compete. Because Maryland and Rutgers and Northwestern, those guys can't.
They can't
They
compete.
can't compete anymore with Ohio State and Michigan and Wisconsin
Right.
because they're not
Maybe
getting
that-
athletes anymore.
Yeah, maybe that's the big draw though for them, is getting two schools that have been
Oh,
around.
sure.
Been around a long time. USC
sure.
and UCLA.
Right. But I'm sure that payday wise, Northwestern makes a fortune when Ohio State and Michigan come into
Yeah,
the
they
stadium.
do.
Right.
But there's not a
That was
whole
Bob.
lot of draw when Northwestern plays Nebraska.
Yeah, Bob. That's the '90s when Nebraska played the school in
Toledo.
Stockton, UOP. When the UOP would
Right.
fly to Nebraska to get their ass kicked.
But they
Well,
made
yeah,
enough money
yeah,
that
but UOP was
game.
getting paid.
Yeah, they were getting paid well to do
Right.
that. Hey, come over
Yeah.
here and play us. We'll beat you by 70.
Now the guys that I was just
Well-
saying about the sports shows that they were talking about, they were saying that pretty soon it's going to end up being a four conference,
Four super conferences.
four
Yeah,
super conferences, and that's it.
yeah.
And that's eventually that's how you might be able to get your the
Well,
four top teams play
yeah.
for the
Yeah,
play to see who gets-
I heard the same thing, Andre, and that's to make it so it's a little bit more easier at the end of the year to get a champion. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
By
and
having four
eventually-
conferences, four super conferences with all the teams, and then have a playoff system, a regular playoff system, and have an
Right.
easier way of getting to the true number one.
Exactly.
I mean, would you be okay with that, Bob? Would you be okay with four super conferences, all the college Division I teams, four conferences split up between the country, having a legitimate playoff system and a legitimate champion? No votes, no voting, no bullshit. Just four conferences playing each other like football. He's thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah, no, because, but you know, and my problem with it would be, but I would get over it. It's
Yeah.
like last year when the Giants and Dodgers, but the Giants had 107 wins, the Dodgers had 106, and they got to play each other in the first round, and then you get a podunk team like the Braves who have 88 wins who get to win the World Series.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So you've got Alabama and Clemson and LSU, and those guys are fighting each other every week. So
Yeah.
you've got, let's see, Georgia's playing Alabama in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
Whichever team wins, the losing team is going to be pissed because they're not going to go to the national championship. But you might have the Pac-12 with Washington, who's 8-4, playing Arizona State, who's 8-4. And one of those teams gets into the national championship because they won that conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still going to have a lot of people screaming and yelling bullshit.
Yeah, I get you still have it, but it was a legitimate game. There wasn't some AP writer voting a team in. There wasn't some coach voting a team in.
Right.
It was a legitimate win to get them into that playoff ring.
I think I'd rather have just four divisions. The first place of each division play each other for the championship.
It'd be kind of
There
cool.
you go.
It'd be kind of hard how they would split that all up, though, because you're going to have
Right.
some schools saying, "Well, we don't want to be in this conference with them." We didn't.
Get out.
It'd be, yeah.
No, that would be hard. That would be hard.
It would be one of those small schools thinking, "What the fuck? We gotta play
Well,
these 10 guys
in
every
the
year."
SEC, yeah, so in the SEC, you add Oklahoma and Texas. So if you split the divisions properly by
Yeah.
geographic,
Yeah,
Alabama, Georgia, and Florida and Auburn are now all in the same division.
yeah, yeah. I
So
think
you
they
don't get
could
a
work
shot
it
at
out.
Georgia and Alabama in the championship game because they would be in the East, and
Yeah.
adding Oklahoma and Texas they'd go to the West.
Yeah. I
Geographic.
think it would work out. I
That's
think
how you want
ESPN would fucking love it because it would simplify the TV contracts. Where they could everybody would be getting a big chunk, and I think you would get a better draw. I think people would be more interested in college football if it had that NFL kind of format to where the average
Well,
fan can keep up and understand what's going
Right.
on. I think that's the
Actually,
biggest problem.
CBS
TBS.
is the SEC network, and they get the best games on Saturday at 12:30.
Yeah, yeah,
ESPN at 4:30 gets the second best game.
Yeah.
So CBS really dictates, who's going to play on ESPN later that night because they always get the best game on Saturday afternoon.
yeah, yeah. I think it would really help the game. I think it's the same thing as in NASCAR. NASCAR is a fun sport to watch once you understand what's going on. Because a lot of people always just, oh, they're just going in a fucking circle. There's a lot going on there. You know, how's the point? Because let's be honest, one of the biggest issues is everyone's like, how the fuck does this point system work? What is this? He came in last. How did he still win? You know, and everybody's trying to figure out how that all works out. And it kind of hurts. And I think if they can have 4 super conferences, split them up in the country, have them playing each other, and have a legitimate playoff system and a legitimate winner at the end, you know, I guess you can't call it Super Bowl because that's probably copyrighted, but you know, whatever, you come up with a name for it and just go with it. I think it would be great. Let's just go. I know I did this. Go ahead, Bob. Go ahead.
No, the only thing that these 4 super conferences are gonna dismantle is the bowl system, because you know in the past the Rose was always the Big Ten and Pac-12. The Sugar Bowl was always the SEC and who else. Orange Bowl was always the Big 12 winner, not the Big 12 winner and the ACC winner. So you gotta figure what the bowl system is going to look like, but I got no problem with it. Go ahead to the next subject if you want.
Yeah, I guess you could make the playoffs the bowl system. I mean, you can make the playoffs. You can still have the playoffs and have it the Rose Bowl playoffs or the Orange Bowl playoffs. You can still have that. I think you're right, though, as far as, you know, Texas playing Oklahoma for that, whatever thing that they're fighting for all the time. I think you're going to lose that. But, you know.
Well, no,
actually,
I don't think you would.
You could keep that.
Because
No, right.
they're the same conference, so you would have the Red River Shootout, just like Georgia and Florida would still play the cocktail party.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because if they would keep them all within, if they do it the right way, the way it's supposed to be, it would work out. Yeah, you'd still have your rivalry.
You could have the 2 second place teams play, the 2 third place teams play against each other.
One plays 8, 2 plays 7. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that would
have something like that. You know, it doesn't have to be exact for champions. The champions are playing for the championship, and the other ones are playing for a Fiesta Bowl or the Sunrise Bowl.
The playoff systems would be the bowl games. Would be, you know, Georgia playing Florida would be it would be the tortilla ball or whatever. It'd be. It's still they would still get their money because obviously we know that's important. They got to get their fucking money. So let's talk about Lamar Jackson real quick. I know I did a little bit about him already by myself, but I found it. I thought it was funny, and you know, one of the things I said in the thing that I think. Okay, look, if you were doing it to be funny because you watched the movie How High, then be a man, stick with it, leave it up there, and go with it. You know, be a man. You know, if that is legitimate reason that you did it because you thought it was funny, then stick with it. Why remove it, right? Am I right on that one, Bob?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're gonna, if that is your reason for posting it, is because you watched that movie, you thought it was funny, and you posted the picture, and now you saw that you got some beef from it, and you know you took it down automatically, and then you came up with this excuse, makes you look real suspicious. So to me, so I did a little digging on this, and I couldn't. I don't know if you guys seen it, but I haven't seen any rumblings between the Ravens and Scott Boras, his agent, about having any issues with the contract. So there's really nothing out there that says, you know, they're having problems with with money or bonuses or any of that stuff. But maybe this was a way Lamar was sending a message to us saying there is a problem, and I'm going to do it this way, and then kind of backtrack and take it out, but just let people understand that there maybe there isn't it. You think there is a problem with money right now with him, you know, going into his 5th year of his contract, trying to negotiate for more money and more years. Let's be honest, more years and more money. Mr. Sharp?
Is this his last year on his rookie deal?
Yeah, this is the last year. He's on his 5th year on his deal. Yeah,
okay.
He is.
No, it makes sense. It totally makes sense because he's planning for next year and he wants to renegotiate during the season. But there's 2 problems that I find with this. Okay, Number one, his agent is Scott Boras, who fucking hates pro sports more than anybody else I know, because he gets his clients to hold out for top dollar, which cost us more money to go see him and stuff. And it's just he's just fucking insane. Okay. Number two,
He's a super agent,
in the
Bob.
NFL, there's a limit on a salary cap. Okay.
Yeah.
So if Lamar thinks he's the best and he wants the best money, he's going to go 55 million. Problem is, you pay him 55 million, you don't have money for talent around him. Look at Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers are going to be a mess because they're going to run in. They're going to have a bunch of secondhand free agent wide receivers and rookie wide receivers
Yeah.
because you cannot pay Aaron Rodgers 50 million and you can't pay Devontae Adams 30 million.
Yeah.
Because that's like 45% of your payroll.
Yeah.
Now you got 51 other guys you got to pay.
Yeah. Jackson's 5th-year deal. This is the deal that he's playing this year on. His 23.02 million. Is playing under his 5th-year option this season. That means he'll be making ready 1.28 million per week is what he's going to be making, which is equivalent to his complete salary for 2021. That's a lot of fucking money.
Right.
Now,
but the problem is, go ahead.
Yeah, the rumor out there right now, and I've seen it at a couple of places, is there's a deal out there. Now, if this deal is true and he's not, and this is not enough for him, I don't know what to say. But the deal that's rumored to be out there for him right now is $46.5 million per year. It's a new deal. It'll be a 4-year deal for $186 million. That makes him the second highest paid quarterback behind Aaron Rodgers and allows him to revisit the market between the ages of 29 and 30. So that's a hell of a deal. And if that's not enough money for him, if that rumor's true and he's still trying to get more money, I mean, that's insane. That's insane money. Andre?
For me, I wouldn't pay him nothing. I would just let him. He signed a contract. If you can't honor a contract, what are you going to honor?
Well, he's honoring his contract. He showed up to minicamp this year. Yeah, he showed up.
But he wants to play for more money.
Well, okay. I'm going to play. Yeah, I'm going to play
for more money this year too.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to sign a contract for the following year. He wants to sign a new contract right now. Because he's not happy with making $23 million this year.
Right, but I'm going to play devil's advocate, and Bob made a point, and let's be honest. If you're an athlete in the NFL right now, and you're on your last year of your deal, you're going some guarantees that that's not going to be your last year. So I myself, even if I'm not Lamar Jackson, I'm just an average NFL player, I'm going to try to work out another deal before that deal runs out, because I could get hurt and then I'm shit out of luck, right? So basically, you're playing.
Right. But work for another deal for more money the following year after this contract expires. Now,
but again, like I said, you could get hurt. He could get hurt this year and be shit out of money. But so you're playing on, what is the term? It's not house money, right, Bob? It's something else.
You're playing on luck.
You're playing on luck.
The only good thing about the NFL and their salary structure is a lot of this stuff is upfront money and signing bonus. Okay.
Right.
So NFL contracts are not guaranteed. They cut you. They don't pay you anymore. You're not guaranteed. Yeah. And that's the good thing about the NFL that I like.
Yeah.
They don't do guaranteed contracts. They do have to pay you the upfront signing bonus money, which is great. Get your 80 million up front, and then you make 27 million a year after that. The best part is once you get that 80 million up front, Uncle Sam takes half of it.
Yeah,
so
you still got 40 million.
Yeah, you still got 40 million, but then you got to play.
That's a lot of money to live
what they
off
do
of.
is that they factor the signing bonus money into the years too, but you just get most of that up front. So on paper, it looks like 46 million. You get your signing bonus.
Yeah.
After you get your signing bonus, you're still playing for mid-20s.
Now, I was just watching Speak for Yourself show. and Wiley and Ocho, those are the two hosts.
Yeah.
They both
Yes.
agree on what they were saying. For some reason, somebody made a top 10 list of quarterbacks, and Lamar Jackson is out of the top 10.
Yeah.
And they were they were both agreeing that he should be in the top 10 for whatever reasons. They both had different reasons why. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Wiley was pointing out, and so was Ocho, that since in 2019, Lamar Jackson had 36 touchdown passes to, I think, 6 interceptions, and his passer rating was a 1.19 or 119.
Yeah.
In 2020, he had
Well, I can give you his career right here. He's played in 58.
just the last 3 years. They were only
Yeah,
going back to the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And his passer rating in the last 3 years went from 119 to 97
Yeah.
to 88. So, and his production was going down also. So they were saying that should he be in the top 10 or shouldn't he be? These guys agreed that he should be because they were Riley, no, not Riley, the other guy, Ocho, was saying that if you put Lamar Jackson in the top 10, you got to take somebody out. And who do you take out? Well, Herbert from San Diego is rated 7th. Or was it Wilson that was rated 7th and Herbert 8th? I forgot. And Dak Prescott was actually rated 10th. Oh, Deshaun Watson was in the top 10. So one guy says, why is Deshaun Watson in the top 10? He hasn't played in a whole year.
Yeah. See, that
So how
doesn't
can you
make-
put him in the top 10? And
Right.
it doesn't make sense. So, and then same thing with Prescott. Although Prescott probably he's been in more playoffs than than Lamar, but Lamar has outdone him all the time. So I don't know what I'm going with this, but what I'm trying to say is that since he's not even rated in the top 10, his production has gone down the last 3 years. Why is he asking for more money? And his playoff system is you're done and one and done.
Yeah.
So why is he asking for money? And the Ravens should be saying, look, here's your production in the last 3 years, and you want us to give you more money when you've been getting worse and worse every year? So that's what I would do if I was the Ravens. I wouldn't give him anything and show him why we think he doesn't deserve more money.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, the reason why his passer rating's going down is because his running back sucks, so he has to throw the ball more, and he's not a
Right.
great passer. Number two, his production, he usually leads the team in rushing the ball and rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's where you're paying him for, is because he's not a drop back passer. He's a run first option guy. But yeah, his passing sucks. Because when he was at 119, he had a great running game where he didn't throw the ball very often. And when he did throw the ball, he hit most of his passes. But when
Little
he's
dinks.
forced to throw the ball, he doesn't have a good arm.
Yeah. And he's like is he, if I'm mistaken, he's like the number 1 sacked quarterback too as well. He gets sacked a lot. I think he's right up there on that, at least top 5 in sacks. He gets sacked a lot. I'll give you his stats
That's
for the
because
last.
he tries to run the ball.
He tries to run the ball. Yeah, in 58 games, his quarterback record is 37-12-0, 64.1 completion. He's thrown for 9,967 yards. This is where I get kind of like, okay, whatever. I mean, he's thrown 84 touchdowns, but he's also thrown 31 interceptions. This is what hurts him as well. In that category, but you got to think the Ravens saw what happened last year. Week 14, with losing him to the bone spur, that team took a shit.
Right.
That team took a dump without him. So I mean, can they put somebody else in here? Maybe Garoppolo? No, I'm joking. But we'll talk about Garoppolo next week when we find out he goes to Seattle. But what happens, Bob, if there's no contract done and the Ravens decide to slap a franchise tag on him? How's that work money wise? You know, is he going to get that 40-something million, or is the franchise tag a limited amount of money? I don't know how that works.
I think the franchise. I think that the franchise tag is what his salary was this year, and up it by 10%.
By 10%. So you don't want that as an athlete. Then you do not want to get slapped.
10% would only make it.
No, you don't.
Yeah, 10% would only make it another $2.5 million more than what he's making now.
Mhm.
So I
makes
can
it
see his
25
rush and his need to finalize a deal before the season starts. But Bob mentioned something, and Scott Boras is known for this shit because he's done it to a lot of baseball players. But we could see him saying, you know what? I don't think I want to play Sunday. You know, I might not want to play next Sunday.
So if
You
this
know,
guy, if this
I would-
agent, if his agent doesn't like sports at all,
He's
what
bad.
the hell is he doing becoming a sports
He's
agent?
a fucking super
besides-
agent, buddy,
besides
dude.
the money, you know.
As an athlete, your dream is for Scott Boras to represent you in the NFL, NBA, or the MLB. But right, Bob?
Yeah, that's where your money is.
Scott Boras said the dumbest shit on TV last year, where they were talking about Corey Seager's contract, where Corey Seager wanted $35 million a year, and he was only making 16 with the Dodgers. Scott Boras said Major League Baseball could pay, all the players an exorbitant amount of money and still make money and let the fans in for free. I'm like, fuck you.
No.
How's the owner going to make money if they let the fans in for free?
Right.
He goes, just because they pay the players more, the owners don't have to raise prices. The fuck they don't, because they got front office people, they got scouts, they got employees in the stadiums, they got all these people on the payroll. If you keep paying players more, you got to up prices somewhere to keep your bottom line. Scott Boras is the most ignorant, narcissistic, fucked up person in the whole world, and I hope this goes viral, so he'll give me a call.
Can you imagine if they actually got paid like we did? Like, oh, well, you're getting a 2% increase in pay because that's due to inflation. So you get a 2%. I mean, still 2% is a lot of fucking money when you're talking millions, but.
Just think back in the 30s,
They used to.
in the 20s, when Babe Ruth was only making $500 a year.
Yeah.
And then he had to go out and do the other work the rest of the year.
I mean, let's be honest. We go to see athletes. We don't go to see the jersey. We don't go to see the owners. We don't go see the coaches. We're not there for them. We're there to see the athletes. We're there to see the players. And I get it. And I get that football is a violent sport. But guess what? I didn't twist your arm to play football. Your dad maybe, but I didn't twist your arm to play football. Right. So, I mean, there has to be a limit to where, everybody's happy, and I understand it. But like Bob says, I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to own a franchise and the checks that you would have to write constantly all day to people, the vendors, the people that work the stadium, the police that have to be there, your coaches, your doctors, your lawyers, there's a lot of money that's floating around. And just to think that, these owners are just rolling in fucking money. I'm assuming they all make a pretty good penny, but I think in the end, I think I'm going to take a wild guess. I may be wrong, but I want to assume a lot of the owners that own these sports franchises, it's kind of a dream thing to have. It's like something they've really thought about, their whole life. Like, I want to own a franchise someday. I want to own the Lakers. I want to own, the Warriors. And they're doing it maybe not so much to profit from, but just to say, I own the fucking Oakland, San Francisco Warriors. You know what I mean? You think there's got to be a percentage of those guys still that own teams that are like that are like just, I own this team. Do I make money?
Business. It's a business now. Most of them probably think of it as a business.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's about it. I don't have anything else. I have this thing. This came up. My Uncle Pino's trying to call me. He's going to have to wait. They say, there's this site. This is a pretty cool little site. I didn't know this site existed, but it breaks down every. Let me open it. He is persistent, isn't he? All right.
Well, talk to him.
There you go. It's kind of a cool little site, but what they do is they show, I'm assuming that the owners use this as well, but it shows Lamar Jackson's injury guide, and then it shows the possibility of injuries during a game and what are the possibilities, how he would get hurt. It's a pretty cool little site, and it says chances of injuries in 2022, 9%. Chances of injury per game, 0.6, which I think is kind of low for the type of player he is. Wouldn't you say, Bob?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, projected games missed, 0.40. Durability is a 5, and a 5 is the highest. And that it can be as durability as a 5 is the highest, and they give him a 5. I thought it was kind of cool. I didn't know that they had this site that was up there, and if you're looking at this, you're thinking, hey, this guy is he's going to be around, he's going to be healthy. I guess you got to take that into consideration when you're offering him a deal. I mean, he's only been hurt a couple times. I think it shows actually pretty cool little site because it shows every time he has gotten hurt. And they have him ranked number 3 overall in quarterbacks. So, yeah. And it shows where his injury. He's got a concussion. I'm assuming this is a butthole thing right here, number 1. No, I'm kidding.
Or maybe a hip.
I'm kidding. His knee. Yeah, his hip. I know. I'm just kidding, guys. And his foot injury. Oh, yeah. Oh, actually, you can put back, lower, lumbar, spine, pull.
Yeah.
Wow, they're real detailed, Bob. Knee patella sprain. And then his
Turf toe.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. I thought that was a cool site, but I'm sure the owners as well go into those kind of details. And I thought it was kind of cool to see that.
I would think that the owners, not the owners. I would think that Lamar Jackson and maybe his personal doctors or whatever will probably take that video, not video, but that statement that you just said or whatever that is his diagram, I guess might want to call it.
Yeah.
And I would say that they would take that and say bullshit with this because this doesn't mean nothing. I can get hurt as soon as I take a snap and go to hand off, bang, the guy's on top of me, and I got 300 pounds on top of me that he could hurt my back or he could break my hip again. So I don't think that they themselves would take that into consideration. That they're right. I'm not going to get hurt this week.
Yeah. No, it's all guessing game. It's numbers, it's statistics, and analyze. That's why they guys get the big money. They're mathematicians, so they can do these things. Hey, just want to give you guys a head up because football's coming up, and but we're going to start a little bit early. And I thought it would be fun if we do our own little fantasy football set up. Hello, Mr. Nick Orlando. And I thought maybe we would start with quarterbacks. So I was thinking maybe next week I'll give you guys a little bit of homework, but we'll start with quarterbacks and we'll go from 1 to 10 as far as fantasy. So, and we'll break down each position in fantasy football during the week. So maybe next week, you guys want to do quarterbacks and what? Tight ends?
Quarterbacks is fine.
Well, we got to do 2. It's not going to. You think it'll take us a whole hour to do quarterbacks alone, or?
You know what? I mean, we've actually got like 8 weeks before the season.
Right, yeah. But all the fantasy football stuff is out already, so I thought it'd be fun for us to put our top 10 quarterback list together that we think for next year, and so let's try quarterbacks first and see how it runs. If we can do 2 the prior week at one time, we'll do 2. So yeah, we're gonna do. So Andre, you can. I know you still kind of. You still understand the fantasy football thing. I know you haven't done it in a while, but
I understand it. I hate to do it, but I
hate to
do it.
Basically, you're going to give us your top 10. your fantasy football top 10 quarterbacks, 1 through 10. I'll have mine together. Bob will have together. And kind of like what these guys are doing on ESPN and a couple of the other shows that I've been watching. They're already kind of putting their list together and breaking down each position in fantasy football. So I thought it'd be kind of cool if we did our own, and I'll publish it on the on our page there, so people can kind of get an idea. Maybe pick because Bob says so. How's that? Bob said that Brady was barely going to get 25 touchdowns this year, so. I think, yeah, I'm just saying that to piss off Nick Orlando over there. Brady's going to throw. Brady is going to throw more interceptions in this year than he does touchdowns. No, I'm kidding.
I think he will.
That ain't fucking happening. Not even on Brady's bad day.
Rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, receivers.
Hey,
yeah.
Nick,
I got one.
Nick,
Go ahead.
just remember.
Yeah.
Nick, just remember, if Tom Brady gets hurt, the Bucks can always trade for Jameis Winston. He'll be available.
Yeah. Garoppolo, go over there.
Before we hang up, I got one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I heard on the news a while back about how Britney Spears,
yeah, she's hot. She's still hot. She got married.
Griner.
Yeah, not Britney Griner.
Yeah.
How she pleaded guilty. She pleaded guilty with.
She pleaded guilty. Yeah.
So, her lawyer, from what I heard on the news, on TV, that her lawyer is not positioning, but I can't think of the word. But he's talking about the guy that you said, John, that was a Marine, and he's been in jail, for like 2 years.
Yeah.
That he's trying to it's not position, but there's a word for it, to get him out also, to get him out of at the same time. And so he's like, going through the paperwork.
All right, and I'll tell you why they added him to the fray. And you ready?
Make him look good.
No, it has nothing to do with making him look good. It has to do for who the Russians want back in return.
Oh, yeah.
The guy they want back in return is a arms dealer. And he is in prison for 25 years right now in Illinois. We're not going to trade an NBA basketball player or WNBA basketball player for a gun dealer that could cost not necessarily American lives, but people around the world's lives from his gun sales.
Right.
There's no way there's that trades yet. And I put it out there myself. Would Russia trade an American gun dealer for one of their athletes that we had here in the U.S.? Hell no. So that's why they're trying to package that guy into the deal as well, to make it look a little bit more acceptable for us giving up such a high-level criminal back to Russia. Right. It's insane. If they make that deal, the guy is called a warlord for a reason. You don't get that name unless you earn that name. So that guy is in prison for the next 25 years. And they're trying to make a deal, posturing. Yeah, that's what Nick is trying to help you out with the word. But that's the whole situation. I'm following that very closely. Yeah, because if that deal goes down and they send that guy back to Russia, and then somehow, some way, he gets guns to some terrorist group that ends up killing American citizens, I'm not going to be happy about it. The country's not going to be happy about it. And if I was Brittany Griner, I would move.
Nick, have a good day.
Well,
all right, guys.
It's just kind of funny though how that they all of a sudden his name is being mentioned. Where for months upon months, nothing was being mentioned, and now
he's been in there for 4 years. That guy.
4 years.
4 years. He's been behind Russian prison for 4 years. So he's been there quite a while, and he's just there because they think he's a spy. So and so, I don't want to get into all that. All right, guys, we are out of here. We'll see everybody next week. Next week, we'll do our top 10 fantasy football quarterback picks, Bob and Andre and myself. I'm sure it'll be different, each one of our picks. And they have to, how do we, well, I was going to say they have to be active quarterbacks, but that doesn't matter. All right. All right, guys. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Andre. And we'll see everybody next week, sometime, Monday probably.
All right.
All right.
Talk to you guys later.
All right.